Let's pause and listen to Benny Gantz.
Was left dry when seeing the hostages coming home. But this evening, I'd like to appeal to the families of the hostages who are not back yet, to those who still don't know what's happening to them. Your journey, the families of the hostages, is inexplicable. And because of this heavy burden, we cannot but admire your strength and the sincere happiness for those families that did have their hostages back, and the backing you give to the army and to the country in order to bring back your loved ones. And when we'll bring back all the citizens of the North and the South, we all embrace you and strengthen you. The burden of your agony is something we think about every minute, day and night. Another thing that strengthens us is the legacy of the fallen soldiers, where we hear that from so many families, mothers and fathers, siblings, comrades in arms, and spouses who tell us, continue, end your mission for them and for us. What kind of strength we have in this nation, this is inconceivable. We are now at very complex moments in a window of opportunities in the frame of the return of the hostages. We shall do whatever we can in order to finish it. But together with that, we are also ready to go back to the fighting in every given moment, including these very minutes. The State of Israel is waging a very complex, many arenas campaign with the responsibility of maintaining the Zionist project and forging it. People want to kill us. They still do. And we have no other choice. We must continue to fight. It's not revenge we're looking for, but the ensuring of our future. We're not going to stop until we bring security and take away the threat in the north and in the south. We're not coming back until we operate. The fighting will go on. It will be extended to any place that is required in the Gaza Strip. There will not be havens until the inhabitants of all the kibbutzim in the south and villages in the north will be able to come back to their land, until everybody comes back to their home. I would like to relate also to the updating of the budget that passed in the government, that has a few essential points in order to continue the war, but unfortunately all sorts of allocations of budgets that have nothing to do with the war itself. And therefore, all the ministers in my party voted against. So many are enlisted. Hundreds of thousands of people left their homes. The entire economy is jeopardized. We all have to mobilize. To add budgets because of political agreements that have nothing to do with the war are a stain on this government. I'm aware of the voices that think that we should leave the government. But we are now in the most important war since the beginning of the state. I don't know if ever some of the decisions that I and my colleagues had will ever be exposed. I know that our joining the government is essential, and I know how important it was, the message that we did join to the people in Israel, the soldiers in the front, and the legitimacy and understanding the importance among the international nations. As I said in the past, we went in to this emergency government not because of political reasons, but because of a mutual fate. Those who deal with politics and the days after is not going to deviate my colleagues and me to work for the people of Israel and all the citizens of Israel. Even when your shoulders hurt and it's becoming difficult, I will not leave the stretcher and leave the soldiers and the hostages and the interest of the state of Israel aside, because now we just must to prevail. Together and with the help of God, we shall do it. Thank you. Questions? Did you meet the Bibas family because of this message that the family got? What did you say to them about the situation? Can we demand the Hamas to return these babies to Israel as a condition for the continuation of the agreement? First of all, in fact, I did meet the representatives of the Bibas family. It was a very painful meeting, most important in its development, because as we were sitting, actually, we got this media announcement that were not verified, but they're painful. I don't know if it's true or not. Is it part of a psychological warfare that the Hamas is waging against us? We're talking about a wonderful family, agonizing, strong, and strengthening one another. And whatever we could do is just to embrace them and be together with them. We are going to continue to look for intelligence and any sign possible in order to base our knowledge and to continue to act in order to bring back the hostages soon and alive if possible. And we shall continue to fight. And I think that the combination of these two eventually is going to bring back the results. And the second question regarding the budget, is that against the agreement? We decided that this government is going to deal only with things that have to do with the war and its derivations. And I said there's a lot of budget that came for the security. It's extended with a lot of definitions. There's a deficit. I understand the important economic implication, but I'm talking about something very simple. At this time, every resource that we can direct to the family, to the war effort, to the families who were jeopardized, the villages that were devastated, people that their businesses collapsed, all this has to be directed there. In the demands of a lot of members in the government, and these people are justified. I have no dispute with them. Okay, at the time it was okay, but what we're saying at the moment, now, at this very difficult hour, the resources should go to one way, and all the other justified causes. And of course, education is important for the religious as well, and defending. I'm for everything. Later on, we can put it into the budget in an organized way, but we don't need political combinations to get what they need. But at the moment, when we are increasing the deficit and reallocating our sources, because everything that was planned before was different, but the reality changed in October 7. I think we have to remedy that and do it again. We hear the spokesman of the UN Security Councils that if the war continues, we are holding a very sincere and important discourse with our greatest friend in the world, the United States, and of course other countries as well. The Prime Minister does it, the Minister of Defense, even I do it, if possible. And we explain to them our need to continue the military operation. We have to understand we don't want to uproot people from from their homes, to deport anybody. We want and we need to ensure our security, and we cannot allow to the Gaza Strip in its terrorist and military situation in the future, and we cannot allow them to regrow in a future reality, because things have changed here. We are going to obtain our objectives and explain it to the world. And of course, a humanitarian corridor we enable. That's important, and we'll continue to do so anywhere, wherever we act. Recently, Hamas has been enhancing its psychological warfare. Are you ready to say that in such a scenario we should have a death penalty for the terrorists? I hope we don't see such phenomena, and will do everything in order to prevent them from doing it. It's not a question of reaction. This is a war. We intend to continue with our attack, and we'll hit whoever we need to hit. I am in favor of killing all the terrorists, and all this dealing with death penalty, it's not fit for the time or the situation. It's not that this murderer or that murderer did it. We are fighting against an army of terrorists. In this situation, judging them, it's not relevant. And more than that, death penalty, even today, exists in the legal possibilities in the State of Israel. Now, we don't have to legislate anything. The military advocates can do it. They can do it tomorrow. But all this dealing is an attempt, unfortunate in my mind, at this mind, to deviate us from the main effort to fight our enemies and to gain some political gain. It's not fit for the time.